We are strategically placed in the Toodoggone for copper, gold, silver discovery. 10 minutes isn't long, so I'll do my best to get through it. I will be making forward-looking statements, so please exercise caution. Our corporate snapshot, 177 million shares issued and outstanding. Fully diluted, just under 205 million. All our options and warrants are in the money. The warrants have no accelerators. We are seeing some warrant exercises, so we do expect our issued and outstanding shares to creep up. Market capitalization of just over 100 million, enterprise value around that 90 million level with $16 million in treasury. Corporate burn will creep up from about $45,000 to $65,000 a month, but this year's exploration program is still being formulated, not least because on January the 17th our world changed, and I'll get into that in a minute. Ownership, Skeena Gold and Silver owns 13% of TDG. Natural resource funds, mainly precious metal funds, including some of the bigger funds, own around 25%. Management and insiders, including myself and my colleague Michael Koswan, who's joined me here today, we own around 13%, and the rest is distributed amongst a wider range of investors. So the key takeaways from me today, 5. The first is the vision. We always felt that Baker Shasta or Greater Shasta and Newberry and the things that we were identifying as targets were likely part of a bigger system. The Aurora discovery on our boundary on January the 17th is a proof of concept for us. So we're excited now to get back up there and work on our side of the boundary. We had world-class expertise on the porphyry side in-house already. We've been working on a secret porphyry program for 2 years. A small company with a small treasury can't throw that kind of resource that you need for porphyry-type exploration. We think we're blessed up in the Toodoggone that some of that can be quite shallow, but you still need that kind of world-class elephant hunting expertise, and we're lucky to have those already. The opportunity, the backdrop, John has articulated it through the lens of the world changing. Well, BC critical minerals going through a renaissance. We're lucky that we've got, I think, quite forward-looking First Nations that we work with, and looking forward to advancing our projects alongside them. Critical minerals for us means copper, with gold and silver now as a bonus. And the good news is the Toodoggone district, largely overlooked for a number of decades, has it all. But we think we offer now asymmetry of risk-reward. We already have an existing mineral resource estimate at our Shasta project. It's 75% gold, 25% silver, pure play, just over 1.1 million ounces. We were working away, plugging away in the background, hoping to grow that to 2 to 3 million ounces. We don't see any reason to change that, but obviously right now the world wants us to go looking for elephants, but we're hoping to get a few gazelle along the way. And then the upside for us comes from discovery. And we've got multiple targets. We've been publishing them for several years. We're now luckily that we're funded to undertake that next stage of work. And the Skeena funding takes us a long stride, means that we can begin on May the 1st this year with geophysics kicking off by the middle of May. So the team, the key guys in the middle on the porphyry side, we have the former head of global exploration for Teck, Dr. Adrian King, Brad Mercer, Fred Graybill, Chris Dale, who some may know was instrumental in taking stibnite from 1 million ounces to 7 million ounces. And just for this audience today, we'll be announcing on early next week that Jeff Kyber's joined our team as well. Jeff Kyber was instrumental in defining what's called the Nelson-Kyber line in the Golden Horseshoe, in the Golden Triangle, which describes within 2 kilometers where all the major discoveries have been made. So we're lucky to have Jeff join us, and he'll be undertaking some of the more fundamental grassroots geological mapping work for us this coming season. I'm sure all of you here are very familiar with the Lassonde curve. Our version of it suggests that actually you go back to our RTO in 2020. Our Shasta rediscovery, putting over 1 million ounces on the books, was a good point for us. But it's taken 4 or 5 years in actuality to get to what was the Aurora discovery by our neighbors on our boundary. And so we're asking ourselves if this could be the real year for us. Where are we? I think people here are probably familiar with the Golden Triangle. Billions of dollars spent on exploration and obviously development work as well with producing mines. But the eastern limb, the Tudagon, is less well understood. Has a history of mining. Kemess is probably the mine that most people are more familiar with. But by comparison, about $350 million outside of Kemess spent on modern exploration versus the billions of dollars in the Golden Triangle. So we're at an earlier stage. We ourselves have spent $30 million, and obviously now with $15 million ready to go, we're looking forward to adding to that. The geology in our area is very well understood. I won't be spending too much on this, but the lithological controls have been characterized for many years. We've only drilled down to 225 meters, and we've been saying for some time that we thought something interesting may be going on at depth. The Aurora discovery, the geological information in the news releases from our neighbors isn't as fulsome as perhaps would be helpful to us, but it looks to us like they're deeper in the system. Even though they've intercepted it shallow, we think it's deeper in the system and dipping from their side of the boundary over to ourselves. And we calculate that that would be about 450 meters depth below Shasta. And so really this gets into the nitty-gritty now. You want to be in a structural corridor, and those structural corridors have been mapped, they're well understood, but they've been done at a much larger scale. And the opportunity this year is to get back in and really start to understand the relationship between Aurora and what we call Greater Shasta and Newberry. You also want to have lateral controls, so east-west running faults, and that's a typical kind of picture. And if you look at where we're now situated geographically, our 1.1 million ounces is over here. Oops, sorry. Our 1.1 million ounces is over at is marked out there by that by this red dotted line here. And about 1 kilometer away, Freeport and AMOC made their discovery on the boundary. We know that there's mineralization in between because historical drilling showed gold and silver, but it's almost been like a jigsaw puzzle. We've been beavering away here, putting pieces together, and then somebody went and put a whopping great big piece of jigsaw puzzle right next to us, and suddenly lots of other things start to make sense, not least the outcropping at Shasta South that we've never had a chance to work on, but also what looks to us like a hydromorphic upwelling, which looks online with the Aurora IP. So lots to get into and lots to start working on, and we're blessed that we've got a fully winterized camp, and we'll be mobilizing by the end of April and working in May. So skipping through, we'll try and get some of this geophysics out on next week, but we have undertaken some of our own, as well as inherited some from previous operators. This is the airborne mag that was done, I think, back in 2017 by Sable Resources. And what we'd like people to see is that Aurora itself lights up, but also Shasta South, where I indicated that outcropping, are 1 million ounces. But what we're actually seeing here is a series of left-stepping, on-echelon mag anomalies that go approximately 8 kilometers. And so all of these have never been properly followed up on, and this is our opportunity. Again, you want to be in that main structural corridor. And so if we start to name them, I might actually have a competition, see if people want to name some of the ones we haven't named yet. But we're looking at around 7 or 8 that are worthy of following up on, and 1 or 2 of which may go over the boundary with our neighbors, Finlay to the north. Our neighbors actually published their own geophysics and didn't always clip the maps, which was quite helpful. But what I think you can see on the magnetotellurics is a nice hotspot there over the other side of the boundary, and also Shasta South starting to light up as well. And here's our neighbor's IP, and we'll make you a bet that 200 million years ago, it didn't know to stop at the mineral claim boundary. But we've got to get out there and do the work this season. And so the work plan. We're funded for a multi-phase exploration program that starts with the IP surveys that have never been done up here and the boundary drill holes. We follow up then with arcs of drill holes as we step away, obviously doing some more mapping and geochemical studies, and then deeper drilling. And we'll be testing that major lithological contact, which we think hosts that juicy grade that John mentioned they found on Aurora. Work commencing, certainly drilling. We'd like to be out there drilling in June. There is a First Nation moratorium on drilling till the middle of July, and so if they wish us to observe it, we will. And then the Shasta deposit itself, the 1.1 million ounces we've already characterized, remains open along strike and at depth. Thank you.